Congressman, nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
I take it since the last time we spoke, you haven't changed your opinion, your vote.
No, I have not.
It's still a no.
It's still a no.
All right. Have you some sort of sense of where the vote is? Because we're all trying to sort of do this voodoo counting heads.
We all do that. And we all do it by just conversations we have with our Democratic friends on the floor. We still think they're 10 down. So we know that Bart Stupak and others with his group are staying where they are. They're staying put. There's been a lot of confusion on that issue. The Catholic hospital said one thing, but the Catholic bishops, which really matters with respect to the Catholic Church, is still against this bill. So there's lots of confusion being thrown around on the pro-life, pro-choice issue. We know what this law does. We know the legislative consequences, and Bart Stupak and others are standing firm. The question is, can they get others who were no before to vote yes? And that's what they're going down the list, and they're still about 10 votes down.
How about peeling off some yeses to the Republican no category? Have you seen any of that? Someone who voted yes last time and suddenly changes his or her mind?
We think that's a dynamic that's happening, but we're not being told of that. We're not having Democrats come up to us and telling us that they're going to be yes or no. We're just hearing from talking to our other Democratic friends that they don't have the votes, that they're not there yet. And so the estimates where I say 10 votes, that's just what I'm getting repeated to me from some of my friends.
What are they saying when you run into them in the hall? Are they saying, like, we're in a full-scale panic, or we're going to get it, we don't have any problem? And what's sort of the vibe in the hall?
Well, I've been saying, are you really going to deem this thing? Are you really, you think you can fool the American people with this deeming strategy?
You say that straight up to them?
Absolutely. Oh, are you kidding me? We had 8 hours of debate on this last night in the Budget Committee. So we have plenty of time to talk to your Democratic friends about this stuff. So we really do push it to them, put the screws to them.
Needle them a little off the
Needle them a little, and also talk to them substance. I spoke to a freshman last night, a freshman Democrat, who actually asked me my opinion of the bill. So I walked him through, and he's getting perspectives from us that he would never get in his Democratic caucus.
Is he from a Republican McCain 08 district?
It is.
So that's why he wants to talk to you a little bit to see which way the wind is blowing.
And just how we think this will play out. He doesn't get our perspective from his caucus.
Now, you had a markup last night? Mm-hmm. What is that? Many viewers, they hear these language, we hear reconciliation.
Yeah. We have our vernacular that we use here. A markup is when you draft a bill in committee to be ready to go to the floor. So I serve as the top Republican on the Budget Committee. What we did in the Budget Committee last night is they started this whole process going of reconciliation. That means start this budget bill, which will go to what we call the Rules Committee, where Speaker Pelosi will parachute in her language that she is using to cut the deals to get Democrats to vote for the Senate-passed legislation. There's only one reason, Greta, why this reconciliation process started last night in Budget Committee, why it's going through. It's because one guy won one election, and his name is Scott Brown. The only reason they're doing it this way is because they can't legislate the normal way. And that's why reconciliation, because they can't go back to the Senate. They got to get the House to pass that Senate bill intact, and then afterwards, they're going to try and clean it up here and there in some small areas. And that's the price of getting Democrat House members to vote for the Senate bill, if they can get them to do that.
All right. Last night in the markup, anything change?
Nothing changed. We went at the bill with lots of what we call motions to instruct. There are versions of amendments to try and change the text of the bill. The Democrats did the same thing. One thing that they did do, which I found was telling, is they added a motion to say, let's put a new price control entity in this law. This is what President Obama is saying he wants to add to the Senate bill. Give the government, in addition to having one person, the Health and Human Services Secretary, be the regulator of all health insurance in America, he wants to give that person the ability to price control insurance. What that is, another way of saying is that's basically the backdoor public option. That it gives the government the ability to run insurance, private insurance, out of business so that the government is the only player left. They want to try and insert this language in this bill in the Rules Committee at reconciliation.
All right. If I'm correct, then to sum it up is that some Democrats think that the reason why there's an adherence to the Senate language on abortion is because the Democrats want to sort of push federal funding into abortion, whether it's true or not. Is that partial thinking?
That's right. That's
All
right.
And those who are sort of concerned about the economic aspect of this bill think that what's happening is that Democrats are trying to sneak public option through the back door. Whether that's right or wrong, those are the two sort of thoughts about this.
That's right. So liberals in the Budget Committee brought this rate-setting authority, which is basically a public option in sheep's clothing, and they're trying to put it back into the bill.
All right. Now, there's some things about the bill you like?
No.
Pre-existing?
There are aspects that I think are intelligent policy, but the entire architecture of this is so bad that you can't perfect or improve this bill. You have to start over.
So
Because
there's some goals, though. I mean, like the pre-existing.
Absolutely.
It's just that you think you get these goals a different way.
That's right. I have
That's
a
really
bill
different.
with Tom Coburn, Senator Coburn, Burr, and Congressman Nunes that deals with pre-existing conditions, that gets you affordable care for the uninsured without tax increases, without a government takeover of health care. We have medical malpractice reform, interstate shopping for insurance, vouchers to buy insurance for the uninsured, and pools that help people with pre-existing conditions get affordable care. So those goals we all agree on. This thing, however, is not a policy issue. It's more of an ideological crusade. And so the architecture of this legislation is to have the federal government basically take over the healthcare sector. And that is where I just can't go. I mean, that is just completely wrong, and that is why you can't perfect and improve upon this legislation. You got to clean it and start over.
All right. How rugged is this debate?
I've been here 12 years. This is the biggest issue Congress has dealt with in a generation.
Except war.
This is on domestic policy.
On domestic policy,
Yeah,
okay.
This is
But
the biggest social legislation in 40 years that Congress has dealt with. It's huge stakes, and that is why this is rugged. That is why this has high stakes. And they're trying to muscle it through by the end of this week, and they're even contemplating a vote process where they don't even take the vote, where they actually deem this thing to have passed. And
the so-called slaughter
the
rule?
slaughter solution. I mean, it's as if the American people aren't paying attention to this, and they think they can sneak this thing by and go home to their constituents and say, no, I didn't vote for that Senate bill. Well, I mean, people aren't stupid. And they're treating the American people like children when they really want to be talked to like adults.
Do you ever talk to Speaker Pelosi or Leader?
I talk to Steny fairly often. Yeah, I don't speak to. I've only had a couple, 2 or 3 conversations since I've been here with Nancy Pelosi.
Why not?
I don't really know
she's
her.
the leader. Well, I mean,
she hasn't talked to us
at all.
at all.
But Steny Hoyer, Congressman
Steny
Hoyer
Hoyer
does.
does. Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time we spoke to him about this bill?
About 2 weeks ago.
Has anyone in the leadership, Democratic leadership, come to you, or do they just figure, well, you're a lost cause?
They write us off. Yeah,
They write you
look,
off.
They decided a year ago they're going to do this their way, the highway. Look, they had 60 votes in the Senate, a huge majority in the House. Charlie Rangel, who was the chairman of Ways and Means Committee, which I sat on, told us over a year ago they're going to pass this bill. They're going to do it their way. They'd like to have our support, but they don't need it because they're going to do it their way. And they weren't interested in collaborating. They made that very clear to us. I serve on the Health Committee in Ways and Means, which writes this legislation. Right from the beginning, they said, we're doing it our way. If you want to join us, great. We're not going to take your suggestions because we don't need your suggestions because we don't need your votes. So they made this decision a long time ago that this was more about advancing their party philosophy than about coming together with a bipartisan agreement to fix what's broken in healthcare without breaking what's working.
When's the last time you spoke to President Obama?
Blair House Summit.
No contact since then.
No.
How about Rahm Emanuel, Chief of Staff?
I see him fairly often.
See him or talk to him?
Talk to him and see him. He works out in the gym here in the morning, and we see him.
We've
in the
heard
gym.
about
I know,
that.
we
We believe it or not, we've heard about that.
I know we have, but he's in the gym every morning, and I'm a workout guy. I'm in the gym every morning, and so I run into Rahm every now and then, and we have quick conversations.
So the statement by the Democratic House Whip that says he's got the votes, you don't buy it? Is it bravado or what is it?
It's a common strategy that's employed, especially these days, called the inevitability strategy. Make your team think you're winning, and if you're going to vote against the team, then it's your fault for bringing the team down, and get the defense, get the opposition on defense. Get the American people who are upset about this bill demoralized so that they don't pick up the phone and call their congressman or someone out their congressman. So the whole idea of this inevitability strategy is to try and win through bluffing. They are bluffing. They don't have the votes, and they've got about 7 days, not even that, where they are just trying to try and muscle this thing through before the president gets on a plane to Indonesia.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.